Hi guys, welcome back to Mary's Vegan Table. I know I was here yesterday showing you guys how to make yuca pasteles. Today I'm going to show you guys how to make just a basic simple Seitan recipe. This one is not going to have any flavors, any seasonings added to it because I just want to leave it as a blank slate. So that way whenever you make different recipes, you could season it in different, ways to accommodate that recipe that you'll be making. So we're gonna get started doing this now, okay? So first I'm gonna add, so I don't really need to make a lot. I'm gonna add 2 cups of the Vital Wheat gluten to my stand mixer. I used to do this by hand, but it just worsened my condition, as I was speaking about yesterday, with the ulnar nerve and the carpal tunnel. So there we have the Vital Wheat gluten. Now I have here a cup of water. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a teaspoon of vinegar to this, just to get rid of that smell. You know that smell, and even that wheat taste that you get from the gluten. I mean, you can smell it as soon as you start making it. As a matter of fact, I believe this is a half. Yep, this is just a half a teaspoon. So let me put in another half to make it a full teaspoon. Okay, so there we go. And we're going to start adding that in a little at a time because we need that to be, okay, so the only thing that I'm going to be adding to this that has any kind of taste or flavor to it is the Gravy Master, and that's just for its color, because this is going to be for beef recipe, so therefore you want to give it that color. So I'm going to add a little bit of this to the water, to my cup of water. This stuff goes a long way, as you can see. It really starts taking on a really nice color. Let me mix it up here for you guys. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna start this on low. And I'm gonna start adding in the water a little bit at a time, because we don't want to add too much water. I want this to be like a harder Seitan, because it's gonna be it's gonna get blended up into browns. Like you can make it for chili. As in my case, tomorrow I'm making shepherd's pie. So here I can see that I'm going to probably need more water. So I'm going to scrape this down. And I'm going to mix it again. Add a little more water to my measuring cup. And this is going to have to mix for at least 5 minutes. By maybe, about 5 minutes by the stand mixer. Because it is like about 5 minutes by hand also, but sometimes you end up having to knead it longer by hand, a little longer than 5 minutes by hand. And just the 3 minutes is enough for me. So I'm going to add a little more water. I'm going to turn this up. It's kneading, looks like it's kneading pretty decently. Let's see. Yeah, this, let me see. You see the strings in it? The gluten fibers? It's already mixed up really nice. Yeah, it can be darker, but I'm not even going to bother to, because the consistency that it is now, it'll probably just stay in one spot or just marble through this through the Saint, and it won't get like that one cohesive color. But it doesn't matter, because tomorrow when I make my ground, my beefless grounds tomorrow, I'm going to be adding seasonings and stuff that's going to turn it to this color anyways. Not this color, but you know, a beef color. But I think I'm going to throw it. Should I just throw it in there for a little more just to be on the safe side? And I also have a pot of water boiling. Didn't bother seasoning the water because, like I said, this is just a blank slate to work off for each recipe. Just to slice it up, ground it up, you know, bag them up, put them in your freezer, and whenever you want to make something, you just take it out and just flavor it, season it to whatever flavor you want it to be. Okay guys, so here it is. There's the Saint-Ten. I'm not going to add any more gravy master to it to make it darker, like I said before, because the consistency and the texture that it is now, it may just make dark, squiggly, whatever. It will just be a waste of the gravy master, basically. So I'm not even going to shape this. I'm just going to put this in the pot to boil, because for about 45 minutes, maybe an hour. And when it's done, I'll cut it up and put it in the blender, and I'll make beefless grounds. So I'm going to get this ready to go into the boiling water. Okay, so I just lowered the water to a simmer. I lowered it from the boiling point to a simmer. Now I'm going to add carefully the Saint-Ten to this, and I'm going to cover this and let it simmer for 45 minutes to an hour, and come back when we're done. So here's our Saint-Ten. It's still boiling. As you can see, it took on the color of chicken anyways. I'm sure I didn't put enough of that gravy master in, but it's okay. It'll take on the color of beef tomorrow as I season it. So I'm not really even worried about it. I just wanted to show you the color that you could make it with the gravy master, but unfortunately it was a flop. Okay, so it's been about an hour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this off and cover it and let it sit for about maybe 15 minutes. Or just wait till it cools off altogether. Okay guys, so I waited to the next day to actually do this. Being that I'm going to make the shepherd's pie today, I figure I'll just let this sit overnight in the fridge and I'll make everything today. So this is the Saint-Ten that we made yesterday. It's not seasoned or anything. Just going to cut this up. And you can see the juices are still in here. So what I'm going to do is just cut these up into little pieces and put them into the blender and ground them up. Just cut them into cubes. I'll be showing you how to make the shepherd's pie today as well. So this is pretty simple. Just cut them into cubes and put them into your blender or your food processor. I'm going to finish cutting up the rest of this, and I'll be back when it's time to start grinding them up. Okay, so I'm going to start adding the cubes into the blender. I'm going to add them a little at a time. Make sure they get well grounded up. I'm going to finish this up, and then we'll get back. When we come back, I'm going to show you guys how to make the shepherd's pie. Okay, so you can see how much that little batch made. It made that little piece of Sainton made plenty of browns. Now before we season these up and everything, we're going to cut up our potatoes because we got to put our potatoes to boil. So just taking this out so you guys can see how much we got out of this and what it looks like after you grind it up. See that, guys? So now let's get to the potatoes. Okay, so here I already have my potatoes. They're cut up. I have them in a pot of cold water. Cut up this one. Peel them, wash them, just cut them up. Cut them into, medium-sized cubes. That way they'll cook faster. And always start your potatoes off in cold water. That way they all cook evenly. So I'm going to put this pot of potatoes on the stove to boil, and we'll get started on making the filling for the shepherd's pie. Okay, so here I started dicing up some carrots. I'm going to dice up this one here. I don't take the skin off of them. I just wash them, let them dry, and then cut them up. I leave the skin on. I don't peel them. Grandma used to tell me that all the nutrition is in the peel. Oh. And you can eat it, why not? Why waste it? So here you can see I just cut them up into these little cubes. I'm going to be adding frozen peas to the filling as well. I'm going to cut up this half of onion. And it's good to rinse your onion off in cold water after you peel it. It keeps you from crying. And here, piece of peel out, onion peel. Just gonna put everything right in there because they're all gonna saute together. Okay. There you have it. Just cube these up nice, small, and then I'm gonna get the frozen peas, and we're gonna go over to the stove and we're gonna start seasoning everything. Okay, guys, we're back. So here I have on medium heat frying pan, well, a deep skillet. I'll put about 2 tablespoons of olive oil in there. And back here, if you can see, I have the potatoes on. I have my vegetables all ready. There go the frozen peas on top. And in this pot, I'm making split pea soup. If you can see that. I'll show you guys how to make this in an upcoming video. Okay, so we got this on the oil heating up. And this stuff, guys, is the best. This is better than bouillon. Make sure you get the vegan one though, okay? They have vegan pork, vegan beef, vegan chicken, I believe, and they have the vegan vegetable. The vegan vegetable, to me, it tastes a lot like the beef would. So this is what it looks like, and it's so good. And just a teaspoon of this. Let me see. I'll show you guys. Basic stock. Okay. 1 teaspoon equals 1 bouillon cube. So just a teaspoon of this equals a bouillon cube. Okay. So I'm gonna add the veggies now. Now with this, I'm not even going to add salt because I'm adding this. And this is already salty. So I'm not going to add any salt. Unless it's absolutely necessary, then I'll add the salt. So I'll taste it after it's done. If it does need a little bit salt, I'll add it. But I don't know. Usually I don't have to add salt when I use this. So we're gonna let this soften up before we add the ground santan, our beefless grounds. Okay guys, so here I'm gonna start to add, and I added a little more peas and a little more carrots just to make sure I have enough for the pies. We're making it individual pot pies. Those are good too. I'll make a video on that one also. We're making individual shepherd pies. So I just want to make sure I have enough of the filling. So I added more peas and more carrots. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add some of this bouillon. I'm going to add it a little at a time because I don't want to make it too salty. What I'm going to do is now I'm going to grab the beefless grounds. carefully get this mixed in. We're going to add a little liquid to this also. I'm going to add a little bit of my Italian seasoning. I know this is, I believe this is an Irish dish, but I like the herbs. Gives it a nice taste also. I'm going to add some garlic powder. I'm going to add a little onion powder. Oops. Okay. Some black pepper. I'm going to add a little bit of water to this. Just about a quarter cup of water I added. And you know, guys, you could mince up, instead of using beefless grounds, you could mince up mushrooms and saute those and use those as meat instead. And you can already see how the color is changing. It's getting darker. Let me take a little taste of this. It's good. I could use though more of this stuff, more of the bouillon. You could also just make this with all vegetables. You don't even have to mince up the mushrooms. You just cut up mushrooms and make all kinds of veggies, broccoli. Just mix a whole big mix of vegetables into a nice little stew. And top that with your mashed potatoes. That's also very nice too. And nice and healthy. I'm going to add a little more water. Because we wanted a little stew in there. A nice little brown liquid stew for the bottom of the potatoes. Okay, what I'm going to do is now I'm going to cover this. Now remember, this point where now it's just a matter of adding your seasonings, which I always tell you guys, season to taste. It's best to have to add more than to add too much, because then there's really not much you can do after that if it's too salty or whatever, unless you just add more grounds and more vegetables, and you have to double it to make up for, you know, the extra salt or whatever was overdone as far as seasonings. So just taste a little as you go and season, and you'll get to where you're happy with how it tastes. We don't all have the same taste buds. Okay, so I'm going to put a cover on this and let it simmer for a little bit, and we'll be back. Okay. Let's check on the potatoes. Yep, they're ready. Let's see this one. Oh, yes, they're ready. They're ready to be drained and mashed. guys. Be careful when straining this, okay? It's extremely hot. I'm going to move this back over to the stove, start mashing and seasoning. Okay, so we're going to keep this on a very low flame and just start mashing them. Okay, so now that our potatoes are all mashed up, I'm going to add some salt, some pepper, and again, this too, everything's all about seasoning to taste, guys. I'm going to add some garlic. This is very nice too when you add fresh roasted garlic to this. Some garlic. Let's add some parsley. You can add fresh parsley as well. It's nice to have the dry stuff on hand. Okay. I'm going to mix this up over here. Okay. Just mix this up. And remember, I have this on a low flame. Okay, now I'm going to add my non-dairy milk. Oh, also, I am out of vegan butter, so I'm going to add a little olive oil. I think I'm just going to start making my own butter again. It's hard to find vegan butter in the stores in my area. And lately when I go online to the supermarkets or whatever, Whole Foods, they're always out of stock. So I added about a tablespoon here. Okay, now our milk. Our oat milk. You can add any kind of plant-based milk you like. A little at a time. It gets to the texture you want. You want a nice thick texture because this is going on top of your filling. And you want a nice hearty pie. Thick but nice and smooth as well. Creamy. Okay. Add a little bit more. And believe it or not, guys, this here is like, this is a 5-pound bag of potatoes here. Idaho. Okay, time to taste it. I'll tell you right now, it's gonna need more salt. It's nice and smooth. Creamy. Very good. And it definitely needs more salt. I think I'm going to put a little more garlic to it also. Okay. And taste it again. That's good. That's very good. All right. And we're going to check on our filling. And then we can start making our little shepherd's pies. Assembling them. Okay, this is done. But I need a little more gravy for it. So what I'm going to do is we're going to make a quick gravy to pour over this, so that way the mashed potatoes has a nice gravy on the bottom too. So I'm going to show you how to make a quick, easy gravy. Okay, so we're going to make our quick gravy now. We're going to start off with making the roux. I'm going to put about 2-3 tablespoons of olive oil in here. This is about, I guess, 2 tablespoons of flour. We may need to add more, we'll see. We're going to just mix that up. It's going to get thick. I'm just going to keep doing it. Just cook it until we cook out the flour taste. And actually, I am going to grab some more flour. Because I can see it's still liquidy. And we want it thicker. So I'm going to add about another about 2 tablespoons of it. Flour. All-purpose, unbleached flour. Make sure it's unbleached. This is what we want. So let's cook this. I'm going to cook this up until we get all the taste out of it, the flour taste out of it. And then we're going to go back to our trusty Better Than Beef bouillon, or Better Than bouillon. I'm going to add a nice healthy teaspoon. And mix that right into the roux. Okay. Now, since I'm using the bouillon, I'm not using vegetable. You could use vegetable stock, but I'm using the Better Than bouillon. So I'm going to just add water to this. A little at a time, mix it up. It's thick, right? Sorry about that, guys. So we're going to add more water until it gets to that nice gravy texture. I'm making a mess here. This gravy goes good on everything, over potatoes, over vegan chicken, vegan turkey loaves. It goes really good. Okay, and keep bumping into my tripod, guys. I'm so sorry. Okay, add a little more water. I'm going to add this now to our filling. Okay. And we're going to add our sauce into our filling now. That's better. Look at that. That's beautiful. And it tastes so good. There it is, guys. This takes your shepherd's pie to a whole different level. We're gonna have a taste. Accident waiting to happen. That is so good. Okay, let's get started making the pies and I'll put the pies together. Okay guys, now it's time to start putting up our pies together, our shepherd's pie together. Okay, so here we have the filling of potatoes. We're gonna put these in these little single size tins. I get a pack of them, about like 12 of them, discount store or online. Make sure you wash them though, even though they're packed up and everything. I will wash them before I use them. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we are going to start we're gonna add our filling in first. This filling is so good. So look how beautiful it is. To add that filling in right here. Make sure you have your oven preheating on 400. These pans also expand in the oven, so it's probably going to look a lot bigger when it comes out the oven. So okay, here is, we got our filling here. And we're gonna gently let me get a spoon. Okay. We're gonna push this down here. Doesn't have to be smooth. We want those little peaks, because those will get really crispy and beautiful. That pretty brown color. So, okay. And here we have our beautiful shepherd's pie. I'm going to add just a tiny bit more potatoes here in the corner. And now what I'm going to do is, so it gets that, it'll help get that beautiful crispy on the top, crispiness on the top. I am going to just add a little bit of olive oil. Okay, we'll just brush it on. And we'll give it that nice crispy top. This is comfort food, peoples. This is comfort food right here. These little tins also make nice little pot pies for one. So there you have it. Now it's gonna go in a 400-degree oven until the top browns, because everything is hot already. So basically all this has to do is brown on the top. If it was cold, I would put it in 350 and cover it until it heated through. Then take off the foil and then put it on 400, or even just pop it under the broiler until the top gets nice and crispy brown. So I'll be back to show you what it looks like. I forgot to mention to you guys, before you put these in the oven, make sure you put them on a baking sheet. line the baking sheet with foil or parchment paper in case anything leaks out over the sides, and that way you can have a nice clean pan. You don't really have to wash it. So here it is, guys. This is what it looks like when it comes out from underneath the broiler. I forgot it was already hot and I just popped it in a 400 oven. So I just want to know why I did that. So I just put it under the broiler, and this is it. This is why I tell you to line the baking sheet. Sometimes you'll get some of the broth from the stew underneath. It'll start coming out sometimes, but this is it. We're gonna taste it. Okay. Oh God. Wow. Okay. Oh my God. Woo, hot. Hot. But good. No. You guys should try this recipe. Let me know what you think about it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment box. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification button so you don't miss any upcoming recipes. And I love you guys, and I appreciate you all so much. And feel free to share any of my recipes. And you guys have an amazing, safe weekend.